The setting is the Xiangwu continent, and our story kicks off under a blood-red moon over at the Shenjuan demonic sect. Tied to a bed in a room full of purple candles and skulls, our MC begs his senior sister to let him go. She leans over the poor guy and just whispers that there's no way she can do that. With a knowing little smirk, she calls him hubby and reminds him that today is their wedding day. She even teases him, asking if he's really got the heart to leave her all alone in the bridal chamber. Panicking, the MC says his name is Xiao Mu and tries to explain he's from another world, but she only cares if his body can handle the job. Seeing the pile of clothes nearby, she asks if he'd prefer her to wear something else, while our guy thinks this overly kinky lady is definitely no wife material. He remembers that, 1 year ago, he arrived on this continent as a nobleman's son and was even engaged to a princess. Just when his life was about to hit the jackpot, the folks from the Shenjuan sect decided to kidnap the poor dude. Back then, he couldn't even dream that being a prisoner was just the beginning of this whole nightmare. He soon found out that his pure yang body was the perfect snack for anyone cultivating the so-called 9-yin art. Since nobody gives a damn about the fate of a lowly disciple, the MC became a spare part for the high-maintenance ladies to level up. Overpowered and with no way out, he turned into a mere tool for them to refine their techniques. Pushed to his absolute limits, our MC coughs up blood and feels like his lights are about to go out. Even on his last legs, he screams that he doesn't want to bite the dust, but the woman just watches with a glint of interest. Out of pure desperation, the MC gathers whatever breath he has left and bites her hand hard. She actually finds his reaction amusing and says he should be honored to meet his end at the hands of his own senior sister. She pulls out a vial, shows off the Gaiyang pill, and explains that it's going to crank his pure yang physique up to the max. Smiling, she lets him know her breakthrough is close and asks him not to be stingy with the energy he has. Without another word, she shoves the pill down the guy's throat and forces him to swallow it. She says that if he helps her break through, his sacrifice will have been worth it, while the MC is mentally screaming for help. Telling him to work hard, she pins the guy down while he mourns the fact that he's going down at the hands of this vixen, without even getting to see the world properly. With a clenched bloody fist, he decides he's not going to accept this ending and yells that he won't give up. Then the system screen pops up, senses his will to live, and announces that the return system has awakened, asking him to log in. A bit dumbfounded, he stares at that blue energy sphere and wonders what the heck kind of ball that is. Reaching his hand out to the light, he reflects that a whole year has passed in this agony. He tells himself that he's been waiting this entire year for a chance just like this. Grabbing the energy like his life depends on it, the MC celebrates that the time to turn the tables is finally here. He tightens his grip, full of hope that his destiny is about to take a completely different turn. Looking over her shoulder, the woman comments that his mouth says no, but his body is being totally honest. Gripping her clothes tightly, the MC calls her a demoness and warns her that, since he's endured this for so long, he's going to properly satisfy her now. He flips the script and grabs her neck, leaving the woman in shock as he demands to know why she won't just leave him alone. But with a smile, she tells him not to show any mercy. Since the heavens gave him this opening, he goes all in with pure determination. Determined, the MC scratches her back and swears that he's the one in charge of his own fate now. Relaxed, she whispers that for tonight, this place is all his. After all that wild business, morning breaks with a boat just sitting there at the pier. The sun hits the scenery, making everything look incredibly peaceful. Passed out on the bed from sheer exhaustion, the MC doesn't even budge while the woman stretches out right nearby. Looking at the guy, she remarks that, for the little energy he had, his performance last night was top-notch. Before leaving, she mourns the wasted pills and says that if he makes it out of this, she'll come back to play some more, leaving our MC there completely drained. Exhausted and eyes rolled back, it looks like our boy really reached the end of the line. Out of nowhere, the system announces that since his yang was stolen, the 10,000 times return triggered, granting him the Crimson Sun holy body. A wave of golden energy floods the MC, fixing his body and leaving him feeling brand new. The system congratulates the host for jumping straight to the 3rd level of QO refinement. And it doesn't stop there, another notification confirms he just skipped to the 4th level. Amazed by the golden marks on his skin, the MC wonders if this is the so-called power of the holy body. He checks himself out, feeling this fresh power rushing through every inch of his body. Treating carefully, he realizes the Shenjuan sect is dangerous, and if they find out his secret, the punishment will be even worse. Knowing the stakes, he knows he's got to walk a tightrope, because one wrong move in there means game over. Walking through the courtyard, our MC reflects that spirit stones rule the cultivation world, and with this new body, he's gonna make a killing on side gigs with the senior sisters. On second thought, now that he has the system, he needs to aim higher since those sisters are total cheapskates and only drop a few little stones at a time. With this new mindset, he decides that living off crumbs from female disciples is no longer in his playbook. Hyping himself up, his gaze hardens, totally ready to put this new plan into action right now. Meanwhile, some guy named Wang Chan, an outer sect disciple, is cultivating his energy without a care in the world. Super focused, Wang Chan keeps up his daily training, completely clueless about what's coming his way. Walking up, the MC calculates that if he gives the 200 stones he's saved up all year to this dude, the system will kick back a crazy profit. With zero warning, he drops the bag of coins right on Wang Chan's head, making the guy almost jump out of his skin from the smack. The guy grabs the little bag, opens it, and can barely believe his eyes, wondering if those are actual spirit stones. With a massive grin on his face, Wang Chan thanks the heavens, thinking his hard work finally moved some generous elder. The system chimes in and tells the MC that gifting the 200 stones triggered a 500 times return. Right then and there, the system confirms 100,000 spirits in his account, and our boy is just blown away by how easy it is to make bank. He figures that 100,000 is still pocket change, because if the return was 10,000 times, he'd be a millionaire, and he swears that anyone who ever humiliated him is going to pay with interest. Then a thought hits him: if he gives these exact same stones to someone else, will the prize multiply again? Picturing the whole setup, the MC tries to find a loophole in the system to farm infinite wealth using his own rewards. Seeing more stones raining from the sky, Wang Chan goes into shock and yells that he just found his sugar daddy. Struck with awe, the poor guy can't believe his luck, swearing that some powerful soul decided to randomly adopt him. To test his glitch theory, the MC pokes at the system screen, but doesn't get a single peep in response. Confirming his suspicions, he sees the system isn't stupid, and there are no exploits to abuse here. Somebody calls out, and when he turns around, our guy comes face to face with someone he really didn't expect to see. A woman with a sword in hand stares him down, surprised to see the MC is still breathing. He recognizes the girl instantly and stammers her name, Lu Qi, with a totally shocked look on his face. Being polite, he bows and greets her as senior sister Lu. He remembers she's from the outer sect and has also been practicing that 9-yin art. Jogging his memory, he recalls that she actually tried to help him out when he first arrived. The problem was, after getting completely shut down by Chu Jiaran, Lu Q fell off the map and was never seen again. Without any hesitation, she grabs his wrist and tells him to cut the chat, leaving the guy totally confused. Pulling the MC along, she warns him that this Chu Jiaran is locked away cultivating, and for the next few days, she's the one who will be using him. She summons a giant flying sword and simply orders the guy to hop on. Swaying as they take off, the MC clings to her waist and begs her to slow down, making the poor girl totally flustered. Way up in the sky, she mentions that his aura has completely changed in just a few months and asks if he got something out of that, Vixen. But he denies it and says he's just being used. Dead serious, Lu Qi warns him that the woman's clan is no good, and if he stays there, they'll drain his yang until he drops dead. She makes a deal: when she levels up, she's going to challenge the other girl, and if she wins, the MC becomes hers from then on. He plays along with the flirting, making her blush, while angrily thinking to himself that everyone just treats him like a shiny trophy. They reach the intersect peaks and fly straight toward one of the fancy, high-end buildings. Landing the sword with style, they finally drop off the payload in the sect's VIP area. Once inside the room, she tells him to make himself at home, because she's going to take a bath first to unwind. Left alone, the MC lets out a little smirk, clearly cooking up some mischief. Lu Qi steps into the wooden tub, getting ready for a nice, relaxing soak. Submerged in the hot water with floating petals, she finally starts to loosen up those tight muscles. Sighing, she thinks that this time nobody is going to interrupt them, and she needs to be quick about what she wants. Suddenly, the MC pops up right behind her asking what exactly she needs to do, scaring the living daylights out of the poor girl. Annoyed, she asks what he's doing there, but he just replies that time is short and taking a bath together is way more practical. He invites her to get straight down to business, and Lu Qi, all shy, ends up accepting the offer. In the heat of the moment, the MC praises her technique, and the girl claps back saying his pure yang body is the real showstopper. After a while, the bathwater settles down, leaving just a single petal floating in total silence. Chilling in the water, the MC mentions he never imagined she'd practice such a heavy-duty art. Flustered, she asks him to change the subject, and our guy agrees with total sass. With a sad look in her eyes, Lu Qi drops a truth bomb: she's actually set to get married next month. When she says the fiance's name is Long Tiangxiang, the MC almost falls backward from the shock. In his mind, this Long Tianxiang guy is an otherworldly genius who was already a master before turning 30, the kind of talent you only see once in a blue moon. The MC gets totally fired up, remembering the guy even mastered the sword all on his own and is famous everywhere. Panic sets in if a big shot like that finds out he got cheated on. The MC is completely toast. Lu Q quickly calms our boy down, revealing that Long Tianxiang got all messed up and is now a eunuch, meaning as long as she keeps her mouth shut, nobody will ever know. Stroking his face, she asks if he really thinks she'd give up her most precious thing if she didn't genuinely like him. Touched by the heart-to-heart, the MC can only sigh her name. Wasting no time, he pulls the girl in for a breathtaking kiss. Right there up close and personal, the two keep getting super cozy. Through the window, you can only see their moving silhouettes. He reminds her that her breakthrough is close, and they need to work hard, while she just calls him silly. Soon after, day breaks, lighting up a peaceful courtyard full of bamboo and stones in absolute silence. In bed, Lu Qi is sleeping like a log, completely wiped out from all the effort. Sitting right beside her, the MC celebrates that the system notification finally pinged. He sees that the Crimson Sun power was collected, but the return this time was 800 times. With a shout, he feels the power of the holy body explode, with those golden marks shining on his skin all over again. Then comes another alert congratulating the MC for finally reaching the Foundation establishment stage. Amazed at leveling up so fast, he realizes that at this rate, he doesn't need to be afraid of Long Tianxiang or his family anymore. Looking at Lu Q knocked out cold, a light bulb goes off in his head. He wakes the girl up asking for his reward, and she just grumbles, still totally groggy from sleep. Drained, she admits he's way too good and she can't take any more, just wanting to sleep, but she hands him a vial before crashing again. The MC opens the bottle, finds 10 Peiyuan pills, and is absolutely stunned by her generosity, while the girl passes out once more. Smiling at the vial, he immediately starts plotting his next move. He thinks out loud that since he has to gift a pill to someone, there's no reason to look very far. Very carefully, our guy pops one of the pills right into Lu Qi's mouth while she sleeps. Instantly, the system announces that a second-grade pill was gifted. Then comes a 30 times return, hooking him up with a third-grade pill. He's not too thrilled, feeling that a 30 times return is basically peanuts for his taste. Doing the math, he remembers he still has 9 tries left and hopes for a return of at least 1,000 times. Meanwhile, even in her sleep, Lu Q seems to think the pill is absolutely delicious. He repeats the dose, the system chimes a delivery, and this time, the return is a whopping 3,000 times. Surprised, the MC sees a golden glow radiating from Lu Qi's body. With the smile of a jackpot winner, he watches a green energy appear in his hand, turning into a seriously powerful item. The system confirms he just scored a 7th-grade marrow cleansing pill. The MC celebrates the find, knowing a pill like this is top-tier stuff. He reflects that, unlike the other one, this baby not only builds your foundation but skyrockets a guy's overall talent. He admits his pure yang body is nice, but compared to the real geniuses of the sect, he's still small potatoes. So, he decides to pop the pill to become a true genius himself. He swallows it whole and is blown away by the massive surge of energy that explodes inside him. The guy drops to his knees, feeling the power rushing through every single vein. He quickly sits down to meditate and soak it all in, while his body starts sweating out all this dark, nasty grime. Lu Q wakes up with a start, complains about the awful stench, and tells him to go wash up, and the MC totally agrees he needs a bath. When he touches the door, his hand releases a heat so intense it makes everything glow. In the bath, the MC scrubs himself clean and steps out looking completely refreshed and super handsome. Curious, Lu Q takes a peek and is left in shock, asking if he became a master and if that pill was really that miraculous. Looking closely, she mentions that just leveling up wouldn't leave his body this flawless, and she suspects he took something else. Worried, the MC figures that explaining where a 7th-grade pill came from is going to be a seriously tough conversation. To play it off, he pins her against the wall and says the credit goes to their teamwork, but teases her that she still hasn't formed her core. Smiling, he says it's his fault for not trying hard enough and offers to help her out for free with another round. Panicking, she calls him crazy and says he has a death wish, but the MC replies that it's all for the sake of her breakthrough. Sometime later, Lu Q passes out again, completely wiped from round 2. Already dressed and ready to go, the MC says his goodbyes, telling her to take her time and that he's heading back first. As soon as he steps out, the system announces that Lu Q collected the pure yang, triggering a 10 times return and giving his Crimson Sun power a nice little boost. Walking through the courtyard, the MC feels the weight of his new level and notices his body feels way lighter and much more agile. With a smile on his face, he decides he needs to score a flying sword so he can travel around and see the world from above. When he hits the outer sect market, it's totally bustling, packed with disciples everywhere. He checks out the options and picks a wooden box, while the vendor thanks him for his business. The sword in question is called Shou Xingjin, made of celestial iron with a star pattern that looks sharp enough to cut through a thought. Holding the box, he thinks that 30,000 stones for a sword is pretty steep, but he's super curious to see what the return will be when he gifts it away. Suddenly a voice shouts out, calling him "pretty boy" and saying he finally cornered the guy, leaving the MC completely confused. He comes face to face with a massive dude and two lackeys blocking the way. The big guy's name is New T. The MC remembers that this brute is from the outer sect and is always chasing after Chu Jiaran. He also recalls that the big guy tried to start trouble with him before, but Chu Jiaran herself put a stop to it. Nuti grabs the MC by the collar and asks, absolutely furious, if he's been sneaking around with senior sister Shu again. With pure sass, our guy just replies, "So what?" which leaves the bully's hand glowing with sheer rage. The brute gathers his strength, and his fist gets wrapped in a heavy red aura. With bloodshot eyes, the huge guy charges at him, yelling that he's going to take the MC down once and for all. Without even breaking a sweat, the MC stops the punch with just one hand, creating a shockwave that rattles everything around them. He even flexes a bit, saying he can't check out now, because he still has a lot to enjoy with senior sister Shu, leaving New T dumbfounded to see that the MC leveled up too. The bully bellows that just because he leveled up doesn't make them equals, and unleashes even more energy at the guy. New T goes all out, throwing a flurry of punches and promising to show him who's boss around there. The MC dodges everything with crazy ease, thinking the guy has power but is way too slow. The big guy just keeps screaming for him to shut up. Amazed by his own progress, he sees that the holy body is truly on another level, since he barely started and is already running circles around one of the sect's best. Deciding to wrap up the show, the MC lands a clean strike on New T's arm and lets him know playtime is over, stopping the guy in his tracks. Wrapped in flames, the MC preps his arm to deliver the final blow to the big guy. The punch lands squarely on New T's face, making him let out a cry of pain you could hear from a mile away. Seeing their boss laid out on the ground and bleeding, the lackeys rush in to help, totally spooked by the strength the guy pulled out of nowhere. One of the goons points a finger and tries to threaten him by dropping the new family name, but the MC just says that reminded him of an important detail. He summons the sword he just bought and tosses it into the air with a master's command. Startled, one of the lackeys gets pinned against the wall by the sword, which sticks right next to his head. The MC tosses the sword over to them and says that since it's worth 30,000 stones, it should cover New T's medical bills, leaving the guys totally confused by the gesture. Then the system chimes in announcing that a second-grade sword was gifted, triggering a 1,000 times return. Checking out his prize, the MC receives a 5th-grade sword, the Tianxing Sui Jun, but he still thinks the weapon is a bit underwhelming. He turns his back and starts walking away, while the two lackeys stay there, glaring with pure malice. The two charge at him from behind, one with a chain and the other with a knife, ready for a cheap shot. With a look that says he's done playing games, the MC warns them that since they don't know when to quit, they can't complain about what happens next. He unleashes his energy and creates a blue wind slash that sweeps away everything in its path. The two drop down crying out with injured hands and broken weapons, clueless about where that surprise attack even came from. A woman with a red aura shows up, asking if they still have the nerve to play the victims. She reveals herself as Lin Hongling and says she saw perfectly well that they were the ones who started the mess. The MC is surprised when Lin Hongling appears glaring at him, with a red sword hovering right behind her. Fired up, she points her finger and chews the guy out for being so careless. She complains that she already told him to nip these things in the bud, so he wouldn't have headaches later. The goons, totally outraged, ask who she thinks she is to badmouth their boss's family like that. With all the swagger in the world, she introduces herself as Lin Jiling and asks if anyone there wants to object. In a split second, the two almost have a heart attack just from hearing the girl's name. Scared out of their minds, they admit the whole thing was New T's fault and make a run for it before she memorizes their faces. She just calls them wimps. She turns to the MC, points a finger, and drops in Kanju, leaving our guy wondering what's coming next. Without a second thought, she closes the distance and presses her body against his with zero hesitation. Holding onto the guy, she reminds him that she already told him to drop her name whenever someone tries to step up to him. Blushing hard, she grumbles that it's a good thing she was nearby, because if he had kicked the bucket, she'd be left with nobody to marry. The MC reflects that this girl has been on his case since day one and realizes that, clearly, her interest isn't just in his yang energy. At the end of the day, he realizes the girl is just completely hooked on his good looks, while she hangs onto his arm refusing to let go. He jogs his memory about Lin Jiling's reputation back at the Tianyuan sect, recalling that people say she has a dark, violently scary side. But the MC knows nobody would ever believe that behind closed doors, this absolute beast turns into this cute, super shy little thing. To ease her mind, he tells her he doesn't go down easy, but she immediately claps back saying her future hubby can't take any risks whatsoever. She grabs his hand and starts dragging the guy right through that massive crowd of people. In the blink of an eye, she takes off into the sky with him, the two of them wrapped in this insanely powerful red energy. The MC's jaw drops because he knows that flying without a sword is a trick reserved for those who have already reached the golden core realm. Intrigued by all this power, he keeps racking his brain trying to figure out what this girl's actual cultivation level is. They land in a hidden courtyard, and that red mist surrounding them completely vanishes. Feeling the air heavily charged with good energy, the MC asks if this is some sort of sacred ground for the demonic sect. Lin Jilling invites him in and says it's her house, making the MC suspect she's under the wing of some serious big shot. Once inside, he asks if she lives there full-time, but she explains she only pops in every now and then to read or take a nap. With a little squeal of joy, she hops up and throws herself onto the bed in a super inviting way. Lying there looking all provocative, she calls him over and asks what on earth he's waiting for to join her. Seeing he's not budging, she gets annoyed, calls him a pervert, and blushing hard demands to know what he's overthinking so much. Then she grabs two books and, without much fuss, hands them over to the MC. He reads the titles, True Chapter of the Imperial Sword and Profound Heart Sword Art. Curious, he asks how she guessed he wanted to train in swordsmanship, and she explains that since he leveled up and bought a sword, it was pretty easy to put two and two together. She even hands him a little sword called Shuangjian, a 4th grade ice element item, real top shelf stuff. She tops it off by saying that since his yang is running a little too hot, the sword's ice will help cool his jets and keep his mind out of the gutter. The MC lets out an awkward chuckle, sarcastically thinking about how worried she is about him. She quickly lays down the law. She tells him to stay there and practice his sword skills for the next few days, and she'll handle the rest. She also lets him know he's no longer just a golfer, and that she's getting his badge upgraded to outer sect disciple. Suspicious of all this pull she has, the MC wonders once again who this girl really is. Heading out the door with a mischievous grin, she answers that she's the person he's going to take home to meet the parents one day. The door shuts with a heavy thud, leaving the guy standing there, completely alone with his thoughts. With a little smirk, he admits the girl definitely knows how to mess with a guy's head. He stares at the books and gears up to start some hardcore sword training. Laser focused on his mission, the MC decides the play right now is to master this new art no matter what. He sits down to meditate and starts practicing, surrounded by a golden aura and some weird symbols while holding the little sword. By the end of the workout, completely exhausted, he can't understand why the technique is so tough, especially after he cleansed his body to boost his talent. Thinking it over, he concludes the pill helped his physique, but his brain is still exactly the same as before, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Frustrated, he complains that having a system is useless if his mind is slow, but then this weird, goat-like critter pops up out of nowhere. He stares at the purple-eyed creature, which is just chilling there munching on some grass. Then a light bulb goes off. If even giving away his yang worked to trigger the system, teaching someone something should definitely score him a prize too. With a mischievous glint in his eye, he walks up to the animal and tells it that, since he's bored, it's about to get a little lesson. The MC starts teaching the multiplication table to the animal, which just looks totally confused, its eyes practically spinning. The system dings, letting him know that for teaching a beast and passing on knowledge, he earned a 100 times return. Seeing his comprehension skills just got a massive upgrade, the MC celebrates that his crazy plan actually worked. Deep in meditation, he absorbs the energy around him and feels like his mind is finally firing on all cylinders. When he opens his eyes, he looks like a guy who is seeing everything with a clarity he's never had before. Glancing at the sword, he realizes he instantly understands that technique that used to seem like rocket science. But he figures that this tiny bit of brain power still isn't enough for an otherworldly traveler to survive in this dog world. Then he turns around and comes face to face with that little white critter again, the goat thing popping out of nowhere. With a wicked grin, he picks up the animal and says that since it wants to learn, today's class is going to be on geometry. He points to a board covered in formulas and starts the lesson. The poor thing gets dizzy, and the system announces another 100 times return on his comprehension. Looking at the screen, the MC discovers his intelligence has hit the absolute cap of what his body can handle for now. Standing in front of the bookshelf, he thinks he's going to master everything in a snap, but the system flashes a limit reached warning. Wasting no time, he tests out the Vajra Fist skill, gathering some heavy golden energy in his hand. Channeling even more power, he gets ready to unleash the strike with everything he's got. Right after that, the MC starts practicing this 6 lives divination technique, holding the book while some red runes glow on his hand. Standing in the middle of a giant golden magic circle, he dives headfirst into the mysteries of this complicated divination. With a smug winner's smile, he hands a bunch of books over to another disciple, figuring that since he's memorized it all, he can just hand out copies to farm the system. Tilting the other guy's chin up, he confirms the master plan, spreading knowledge to farm endless rewards. Surprised, he asks the little beast if it really wants to give him that bone, while the critter just makes a cute little noise. Holding the bone, the MC sarcastically says thanks and jokes that the little guy is going to end up as soup ingredients later. Taking a closer look at the item, a purple energy reveals the technique's name, Mystic Arts of Chaos. The MC is completely shook. Sitting on the floor, a big smile spreads across his face, not believing the little pet actually scored him a technique like that. The system screen pops up instantly, announcing it detected the mystic arts and has already started auto-teaching it. Suddenly, a splitting headache hits the MC like a truck, while a purple mist wraps around his entire body. The guy drops to the floor and even coughs up blood, completely terrifying the little critter with the whole scene. Glaring at the bone, he curses that even with a sharp mind, he still doesn't have the hardware to handle a technique of this caliber. Staring at the bone on the ground, he wonders if this thing is Earth tier or maybe even Heaven tier, considering how heavy-duty it is. Just then, Lin Jiling walks into the room, and when she sees the MC laid out, she totally panics and asks what the heck happened. Helping the guy up, she blames herself, thinking she gave him way too tough of a workout, but the MC says the problem goes a lot deeper than that. She tells him not to rush things, sets a takeout box on the table, and says she brought him some grub. With a cute little smile, she offers to spoon-feed him, doing that little say ah routine like he's a toddler. While eating, an idea hits the MC Tress. Since Lin Jiling is right there acting all sweet, he might as well take advantage of the situation. He hands the glowing bone over to her, saying it's a gift, and suggests she check if the thing is actually good for anything. Curious, she asks where he found it, and the MC explains he got it from an animal, but since it's way too hard to learn, he decided to give it to her. The system instantly chimes in that for gifting an Earth tier technique, he earned a 60 times return. The MC is doing a happy dance on the inside. On the screen, he sees he just scored a top-shelf Earth tier technique, the Mystic Arts of Pure Yang. A glowing scroll pops into his hand, loaded with a golden energy you could see from a mile away. The system notices the technique is a perfect match for his body and asks if it can install it, but the MC decides to hold his horses. Watching Lin Jiling inspect the bone, he figures the installation process might take a while, and he doesn't want her getting suspicious. Sticking to the plan, he reminds himself to act totally natural, since downloading the technique isn't exactly a quick process. The girl then drops a warning. It's a good thing he didn't try to learn it, because it's a chaos technique and his body is pure yang. She explains the danger. The two energies clash, and if he had forced it, his energy channels would have literally exploded. Shocked by the news, the MC breaks into a cold sweat, just imagining the absolute disaster it would have been if he had tried to cultivate that bone. Lin Jiling advises that since his body is special, finding the right technique will take time, so his best bet is to focus on the basics for now. Feeling suspicious, the MC asks why she's being so nice to him, and the girl, clearly full of ulterior motives, asks if he seriously hasn't figured it out yet. Blushing like crazy, she moves in provocatively and tells him to just give in already. With that inviting smile, the girl insists that he just throw in the towel once and for all. The MC loses his patience, yells, "This is absurd," and shoves her away, unleashing a purple energy that explodes inside the room. With a massive boom, this pillar of purple light shoots up into the sky, blowing the roof off and taking whatever else is in its way. Out of nowhere, a new woman shows up and tames the MC's energy with an insane amount of power, forcing the guy to his knees. Pinned down, the MC stares at the floating woman and wonders what kind of monster this is, packing an aura that would terrify anyone. Terrified, Lin Jiling asks what her master is doing there, and the MC is even more shocked by the connection between the two. Completely lost, the poor guy can only repeat the word master while trying to process the heavy blow. Floating there with a scowl, the master sarcastically asks if she happened to interrupt their little hookup session. On her knees, Lin Jiling swears she would never disobey, while the MC stays glued to the floor under the sheer weight of the woman's energy. The master totally rips into her disciple, reminding her that she was the favorite and the one chosen to be the sect's next saintess. Furious, the woman complains that instead of training, Lin Jiling was just getting cozy with some random disciple in her room. The girl throws herself to the floor instantly, begging for forgiveness and admitting she completely dropped the ball. The woman summons a magic sword and warns her that, since she owned up to her mistake, she's giving her one single chance to redeem herself. She tosses the weapon right in front of her disciple and orders her to take the MC out to end this little romance, and then lock herself away for 30 years of straight cultivation. Desperate, the young girl grabs her master's leg and begs her to change her mind, saying the MC has absolutely nothing to do with this. With an icy glare, the woman asks if that's supposed to be some kind of threat. Furious, the master unleashes a wave of power that hits Lin Juling and the MC head on, showing absolutely no mercy. Seeing the girl hurt and coughing up blood, the MC wonders if this saintess is actually crazy enough to take out her own apprentice. Grabbing the girl from behind, he yells at her to focus on recovering her spiritual energy as fast as humanly possible. The master is caught off guard by all that glowing and realizes the MC doesn't just have a regular pure yang body, but actually awakened the super rare Chiang holy body. Looking at that golden light, the woman admits that this holy body is definitely built different, and the guy her disciple picked actually has some real value. Right after, Lin Jiling leans in and jokes that if she had known about this holy body earlier, she would have tied the guy to her bed a long time ago. The MC is just left standing there totally clueless. Watching their little banter, the master backs off and announces that out of consideration for her pupil, she's gonna let the guy live this time around. The girl sighs with relief, but the boss lady immediately shuts the party down. She tells her she has to go up Zion Peak for 30 years in solitary confinement, no ifs, ands, or buts. The MC does the math real quick and realizes that if she vanishes for 30 years, his system reward fountain dries right up. He decides on the spot that he absolutely cannot let that happen. He steps up, approaches the master with total respect, and asks for just a quick minute of her time. With total confidence, the guy drops a massive bombshell right in front of everyone. He says he wants to marry Lin Juling, leaving both of them with their jaws on the floor. At a loss for words, the master just stares at the MC, trying to figure out where he got the sheer nerve to make such an outrageous request. With an icy glare, she sends the guy back to the outer sect and lays down the law he needs to go train and only come looking for Lin Juling once he becomes a real master. The MC just stands there, watching the trail of the two women disappearing into the sky, wrapped in purple energy. He takes a deep breath and feels a shiver run down his spine, remembering the power of that saintess, who could wipe him off the map with just a single thought. Sweating bullets but fired up, he concludes he needs power, and a whole lot of it, to actually be the boss of his own destiny. Back at the outer sect service courtyard, life goes on with its usual chaotic hustle and bustle. The MC walks into his tiny room, totally determined to focus his mind strictly on his own cultivation. Taking stock of the situation, he smiles with satisfaction. He walked away with an earth tier technique and a 4th grade flying sword, despite all the crazy drama he went through. He quickly sits down and tells the system to start downloading the new technique into his brain. The blue screen immediately confirms receipt. With the command given, the system's glow fills the room, ready to get down to business. The MC closes his eyes, goes into a trance, and feels that powerful golden energy coursing through every single vein in his body. Blown away by how fast it's going, he wonders if it's his holy body giving this massive boost to the pure yang technique. But the system flashes an alert, warning that the surrounding energy is too low, and asks if it can pull some from outside to get the job done. Without missing a beat, he hits Doki on the screen and lets the system go to town. To fix the fuel shortage, the guy summons that massive stash of spirit stones he had saved up. The stones start glowing bright and release a heavy wave of energy that fills the entire room. With a wickedly scary grin, the MC absorbs all of it and celebrates that true power has finally arrived. The night rolls on, and the golden light from his training leaks through the window cracks, lighting up the outside. Surrounded by golden flames, he suddenly opens his eyes, looking completely bewildered. In shock, he stares at the empty floor and wonders if he seriously burned through 70,000 spirit stones in a single night. He clenches his fist tightly and figures that, at the very least, jumping up 3 levels in one night was worth every single penny. Stepping out of the room, the MC stretches out and decides his top priority right now is to figure out a way to make some cash again. He barely sets foot outside when 3 guys surround him, already calling him out by his name, Zhang Mu. The ringleader, a guy named Hu Qiang, sarcastically remarks that he heard senior sister Chu has been handing him a lot of sweet little treats lately. Stepping up looking for a fight, the bully demands to know if the MC isn't going to thank them for everything. The guy quickly reads the room. He remembers this Hu Qiang is a nasty piece of work who loves bullying the weaker kids in the courtyard. He recalls that this brute even ended a newbie once, just because the poor guy had the guts to talk back. Ticked off by the MC's silence, Hu Qiang manifests a tiger claw made of energy, completely ready to pounce. Yelling that the guy is just begging to be taught a lesson, the bully charges at him full throttle. With a knowing smirk, the MC readies a glowing punch and sends the guy flying to teach him some manners. Hu Qiang flies backwards spitting blood and crashes into the middle of the courtyard, getting caught by his goons. Panicking, his followers scream their boss's name and try to check if the guy is still in one piece. Wrapped in a red glow, the MC sees Hu Chuang completely shocked that he leveled up and just mockingly asks if it was really that obvious. Wiping his mouth, the bully gets up and barks at his crew to stop staring and attack him all at once. Then the two massive goons rush the MC, wanting to crush the guy by any means necessary. They surround the MC and throw some energy-packed punches, attacking him both at the exact same time. From a distance, the other disciples get worried, saying that taking on this whole crew at once is just asking for trouble, and they yell for him to watch out. The MC completely ignores the warnings and preps a technique, focusing that red glow right at his fingertips. Telling the duo to get out of his face, he unleashes a shockwave that sends the goons flying. Hu Qiang jumps back into the fray transformed into a tiger beast and leaps right at the guy, dropping all sorts of trash talk. With his eyes glowing red, the brute screams for him to meet his maker while setting up the finishing blow. But the MC dodges it with absolute chill, slipping away from that attack by a hair. Right after, he hits him back with an energy blast that catches the bully dead on and wipes the smirk right off his face. Laid out on the ground and bleeding, the tiger man glares at the guy with an absolute, burning hatred. Seeing red, he threatens the MC, telling him he better watch his back for what's coming next. Not giving a single crap about the tough talk, the guy steps right on the dude's head to show everyone exactly who's boss. Looking down at him with ice in his veins, he tells the brute to shut his mouth and stay down. After that, he uses a quick skill and snatches the bag of spirit stones right off the defeated attacker. He announces to the crowd that those stones were stolen by Hu Qiang, and now he's giving it all back to its rightful owners. With a huge grin, the MC tosses the bag's contents up into the air, making it rain spirit stones all over the courtyard. The crowd cheers Zhao Mu's name and dives to the floor to scoop up the stones, thanking the guy for his generosity. Then the system chimes in that, for donating 9,000 stones, he scored a 1,000 times bonus, banking a cool 9 million spirit stones. Grinning from ear to ear, the guy thinks to himself that money definitely won't be an issue for a good long while. He walks up to a buddy, thanks him for always having his back, and offers him a refinement pill, leaving the poor guy in a state of absolute shock. Wang Chan waves his hands defensively, saying the gift is way too expensive, and he just can't accept it. The MC isn't taking no for an answer, shoves the pill right into his friend's mouth, and tells him to quit whining and swallow it already. While the other guy chokes it down, the system pings to say the gift triggered a 100 times bonus, hooking the MC up with a second, great establishment pill. Catching his breath, the guy praises the MC, but warns him that Hu Qiang has some powerful backing and he needs to find a protector in the outer sect ASAP. Seeing the crowd still partying, the MC agrees that this is exactly the game plan. He arrives at the outer sect management office, totally ready to take his career to the next level. Inside, there's a guy deep into his alchemy, messing with a massive blazing cauldron. With a permanent scowl, manager Jiang Dinkin just stands there, super focused on this delicate process. The MC walks in casually, introduces himself as disciple Zhao Mu, and greets the man politely. Without even turning around properly, the guy just gives him a disdainful side eye without so much as a hello. Ignoring the guy entirely, the manager makes the cauldron erupt into even stronger flames out of nowhere. Suddenly, the whole thing violently blows up, startling the MC who has no clue what the heck just happened. Standing in the smoke from the blast, the manager fakes being totally furious about how the work turned out. He points a finger and accuses the guy of breaking his concentration and ruining the pills, telling the MC to get out of his sight. The MC instantly realizes the man sabotaged the pills on purpose and figures out somebody put him up to acting like a jerk. While the manager screams at him to get out, the guy walks right up, completely chill, and tells him not to be in such a rush. He pulls out 5 bags, offers up 50,000 spirit stones, and asks the manager to accept this little token of appreciation. The man's mood does a total 180. He cracks a smile and says that since his little bro wants the badge, he'll sort it out in a flash. With a sly smirk, the MC just thanks the manager for being so quick on his feet. The guy explains his golden rule is cash, but he doesn't rat people out, and our guy replies he totally gets how the game is played. Then the MC pulls 10 more bags of cash out of thin air and asks if that's enough to get the job done, leaving the man completely speechless. Speaking in a hushed tone, the manager motions him closer to spill the tea without anyone overhearing. Discreetly, the guy uses a few small stones to spell out the name on the floor of the person who put him up to it. The MC's eyes go wide when he finds out the mastermind is none other than Chu Yaran. Thinking over the situation, he remembers this woman has huge pull in the outer sect and has spies everywhere. He figures that if he just hangs around doing nothing, it's only a matter of time before she gets her claws in him again. Wasting zero time, the MC hops on his flying sword to bounce out of there as fast as possible. Flying high over the sect, he puts some distance between himself and the office, already cooking up a new scheme to get himself off the hook. He lands in a more secluded area full of purple, roofed houses and starts snooping around. Looking down, he thinks it's super sketchy to see two guys sneaking out of Lulu's room. He immediately recognizes the two characters. It's Long Tiangxiang, the sect's big shot, and Lu Haikong, one of the elders.